In our previous episode, we destroyed some pussy, thwarted a localized drug circle, and helped a Gooner bro find an antidote after a spider bit his dick while he was whacking it to this titty deer. We now find ourselves on a journey to Dolinar, where on the way we encounter what I can only assume is a fur-curious night elf. I was going to ignore him, however the guy offered me good pay to go kill some random wildlife and bring back the body parts so he could complete his fursuit. While in the town I also picked up another few jobs. My guy here was pissed at the furry population, as they'd organised a raid on a nearby village and shit got real. Bro said he jumped ship and had to leave his My Little Pony body pillow behind and asked me to retrieve it. I then picked up one final job, which was to seek out this guy's gay lover. He was trapped in the village when the furries attacked and hasn't heard from him since. I then made a few quick pit stops to turn in my Uber Eats deliveries, and was then told that actually I'd need to collect Gamer Girl bathwater from all of the communal bathtubs in this entire fucking postcode, starting with the one that was most likely pissed in by the furries. Heading out, I quickly gathered the materials the furry wannabe guy needed.
Great success.
Then headed over to the village to find it fucking infested. These malicious degenerates attacked me on sight, so I decided to wrap up business and I found the defiled body of that guy's gay lover, and then quickly looted the body pillow and got the fuck out of Dodge. On the way back, I quickly grabbed the bathwater sample from the communal pool, which did indeed smell of piss. And like clockwork, the half-naked history buff thought this would be a great time to catch a quick glimpse and tell me about this dumbass called Fandral Spazhelm. I got back to town only to be shit on. The news that I'd helped the furry complete his fursuit had travelled fast, and the local council had branded me a convict. Cyril here told me to gather some fell cocaine because his furry dumbass would think it's an edible and go give it to him. I then spoke to Talon High and gave him his body pillow, only for him to fly into a rage. His pillow was ruined as there was a suspicious hole around a certain area and a general crusty feel to it. This was enough for him to demand that the furry leader be killed along with some of his simps. I delivered news of Aphrodite's gay lover falling to the furries, and he told me that he was going to attempt a ritual to save him, but for that he'd need some special relics locked away for centuries which are buried in a furry-infested cavern. Just before I left, this warrior princess-looking sentinel next to him spoke up and basically told me to completely genocide the furry population, to which I said, "Fuck yeah!" I went back to the bathwater to collect a Corophras and, surprise surprise, up to another fucking bathtub for some more of that Gamer Girl bathwater. Now, aiming to redeem myself in rapid fashion, I gathered the crack rocks and quickly gave them to Zen the furry wannabe. Zen, with his lukewarm IQ, ingested all of them immediately and literally turned into a fucking frog. I then went and began my crusade against the furries, starting with Ferocitus the Cream Eater and his army of simps. After quickly dispatching them and avenging Talankai's ruined pony pillow, I returned to town to deliver the good news. During this time, some of the smackheads that escaped the Glenelg Shadows had set up shop in a crack den behind town, and the local authorities were having none of that. I forced my way into the cave and then began to deploy the Druggy Destroyer 9000. As I got a bit further in, my GPS went off and warned me about the dealer being in town. I dealt with this dipshit, hoping for the Giga Rare item he drops, but got fuck all. I then used up the rest of the power in the Druggy Destroyer 9000 and fight my way to their leader, who, as a surprise to no one, is another fucking furry wannabe. Returning to town and telling Cyril the town is now safe of drug addicts, I had my 10th birthday and suddenly learned how to ride mounts and specialise my abilities. I then chose to specialise as an upholder of the balance and immediately regretted that choice because it turned me into a giant fucking chicken. So I quickly hopped on the pay-to-win Longboy and bought me a glyph that turned off the laser chicken and made me look cool as fuck, only to realise I needed to have my 11th birthday before I could use it. I then made another discovery which would change the way I approach this challenge. I had access to Go Fast mode. I used my newfound sound barrier destroying speed to quickly grab this glowing apple from this not so obvious narcotic tree and took it to this hobo who apparently doubles as a botanist. He thanked me for the sample and then proceeded to plant the seeds which immediately sprouted into crack babies. Unfortunately, these little tykes were so drug-addled the first thing they did was attack me, so I barbecued them. It was around this point I had an idea. Turn my newfound laser chicken form against the actual furry population. I would try to incite civil war by disguising myself as one of their own, and so began the crusade against the furry den. I tagged every furry I could and then proceeded to get lost in this literal asshole of a cave. I wound up talking to this rehabilitated furry. He asked me to find his charm bracelet from one of his old fursona buddies. I then continued the crusade while looking for these important ancient relics that were just left in random unmarked containers. I found Oben's charm bracelet and went back to him where he asked me to help quote unquote find his release. So I went next door and killed his fursona using the charm bracelet to cleanse him of his illness. Oben thanked me greatly, and I then grabbed the last 2 relics and got the hell out of this jizz-smelling shithole. I returned to Aphrodite with the relics, who then explained that one final job remained, to assassinate the head furry. I flew up the cliff and proceeded to Sam Fisher the shit out of Arsehole the Mauler. I was once again then back to my Uber Eats ways, as I was directed to deliver a literal bag of shit to the hobo down the hill. On the way in, I decided to check on Cockmoss the Fetid and ripped off what I thought was a tumour as proof of the kill. As soon as I landed at the hobo's house, I was immediately assaulted by somebody else's crack babies and told him just to take the bag of shit. Also, turns out what I ripped off wasn't a tumour, but the Swamp Thing's ballsack. I was going to leave, but then he gave me a job to investigate the local swamp monster population because they were more pissed off than usual, and he couldn't figure out why. So we were then sent to kill them and gather seeds from their corpses and steal their children. Now, logic would dictate that this would piss them off even more. I tried explaining this to him, but he just told me to go visit his bro Relian halfway across the zone. Before I left, the bathwater entrepreneur Corifras handed me another vial and said more please, as there was another communal bathtub in the area I was heading to. This time hopefully piss free. On the way I was told some more of the furry community were ambushing unsuspecting passers-by, and due to my skill in dealing with them before now, was offered another bounty on the few that remained, to which I gladly accepted. We met up with Relian, who examined the swamp monsters, and said nah bro, this ain't enough, and sent us to kill some more and gather their ball sacks for research purposes. So I said fuck it, whatever. I hopped on over to the next bathtub and was told more about Fandral Spazhelm, but got bored and flew off. Returning to Relian and his hobo friend, we learned that the swamp monsters all operate like a hive mind, and that they were all pissed off because the oldest one, named Oakenskal, had his access to only plants revoked, and had a ball sack the size of 2 footballs. I grabbed the final vial of bathwater, this one belonging to Belle Delphine herself, and then met up with an old acquaintance, the titty deer Tarandrella. She told me that the drug cartel's boss was crashing out because I'd hindered their supply and gave me superpowers to put an end to the drug ring once and for all. We then located Oakenskal, and yep, man was dragging 2 enormous bollocks behind him. I relieved him of this problem, and finally we were sent to meet with the leader of the sexy elves, Tyrande the Wand Whisperer.